And welcome back to Jeff Koinange live here at Citizen Television. We're on the bench today with the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, Kipchumba Murkomen. We're talking about the state of security and whether the homeland is safe. And before the break, Waziri, I asked you, do you have misplaced priorities? Obviously, your ministry needs more money. Everyone's asking for more money. And the money is probably there, but it's being used elsewhere.
Well, I would, even though I would like to push for more resources in the ministry that I currently manage, I would like to say that there are competing interests across. Sometimes you ask yourself, is it more important to put more money in education, you know, so that you can make sure that more children can go to school? For example, when we talk about security of our country, a more secure country is a more economically stable country. It's also a country that has better educated people. When we were with the Finnish president the other day, he spoke very well about how they consider education a very important tool for them to protect their country from propaganda from their neighbors. So education also is very important for security. So security does not just mean the hardware. It also means the economic well-being of a country, social well-being of a country, meaning you must invest in your education, you must invest in your health sector. And I remember those two sectors actually need a huge amount of resources so that you can be able to have a more healthy society. You also ask yourself, is it better to buy more guns and more APC vehicles, or it may be better for you to get all your money and open up the roads in Samburu, Baringo, Marsabit, Wajir, and all those places, because clearly research has shown that the areas that are prone to banditry, for example, are the ones that were historically marginalized. So that you're asking yourself, it may be better to pump more money in water, roads, schools, and infrastructure generally in the areas that have been either too marginalized for many years.
But
So when you're talking about a priority, it is this competing interest that the country has from this sector to the other, the ability to pay doctors well, pay teachers well, the ability to build hospitals, build the schools.
But if you
this competing interest requires us to become very prudent in terms of the resources we are using, but also to work very hard to expand our economy so that then we can be able to raise more resources to secure our nation.
If you had a wish list, you as CS, of the kind of equipment you would need, what would it be?
I would say that my first wish list will be technology. I would be really, our dream, and which is within our plan, is to make sure that we have, if we can have more drones, and not just the simple drones, the drones that have longer flight capability and with night vision ability to operate at night. I think that if you have that, you cut your cost in terms of surveillance, because then it helps you to do better surveillance. I would also say that it would be important to have protective gear for most of the police officers. I would also put priority in terms of training and hiring, particularly training to a high level and equipping the police officers so that few can operate in an operational area with better equipment. I think if we were able to get there as a country, and maybe to have a little bit increased of air power, if we could have more helicopters that can help in both operations and evacuations, I think that would help us. But if you ask me, because I have been here, particularly coming from Kerio Valley and coming from one of the counties that has been really affected by banditry, if you ask me my really proper dream, my dream in terms of security, particularly in the about 12 to 13 counties in this country from the northern part of the nation that are really heavily affected, from Lamu all the way to Turkana and to the corner of West Pokot and Trans Nzoia there, I would propose that we have a Marshall Plan. We have a grand plan to develop those areas. I believe that better infrastructure with water, with education, would give us long-term benefits than just security operations. I think that security operations, even if we invest in this equipment, for me, it is just to pacify the situation. You need a dual strategy. Pacify the area, but quickly develop. So that, did you know, Jeff, that most of the bandits operating in these, particularly in Kerio Valley region and all those areas, did you know that they are either 14, 15, 16, 17? The oldest being 23. In fact, there is one in most of them that they call themselves commanders in that Kerio Valley at 22, 23. Those are the senior. Most of the, in quotes, they are soldiers who go for the real fight at 16, 17, 18. You ask yourself, are these people aggressors or they are also victims? What did we do as a country that we have a critical mass? You have young people in one county up to 500 in one county that are below the age of 20 or around the age of 20 that know how to use a gun and terrorizing people and making us spend all these resources. You need to ask yourself, can you sustain this situation for another 20 years? My thinking is that, and this is the thinking of the president as well, is that I would rather we invest more in developing these areas that in the sessional paper number 10 of 1965, they were called low potential areas. I would rather we have a plan of 10 to 15 years to completely open up these places. For example, people who steal livestock here in Meru, they go and hide it somewhere in Mukokodo forest in Turkana, in Samburu east there. Some of the livestock that are stolen in Baringo, parts of Baringo North, Baringo South, are taken to Tiatich in places like Silale and on all those other areas. And nobody is able to go there. Why? Because the place is locked. Silale ward, for example, which is as big, it's bigger, it's twice Kirinyaga County, one ward, has only one secondary school. So we are also reaping where we sowed as a country. By marginalizing some parts of this country, they have become safe havens for criminals. I believe that we cannot continue investing in hardware of security if we are not willing to open up the places. That's why when the president spoke about the road, for example, the one for Isiolo, Modokashe, Wajir, Kotulo, Elwak, up to Mandera, 750 kilometers. People were laughing. But that, if we want to reduce cases of insecurity in that area, roads are very important. When we came to office, the president told me to expedite the planning for those roads. And I'm happy to note that in the next 2-3 years, we should be able to have completed those roads. A road like, for example, Lamu to Ijara, which was initially, when we came to office, was a Maram road. The president directed us in the ministry at that point in time that it must be tarmacked, and I'm happy that it's being tarmacked. I'm happy that now the road between Maralal to Barago is being attended to. I had proposed that the roads also from Loruk all the way to Lokichar should also be tarmacked. That will open up Tiati constituency. Tiati constituency is one of the most landlocked constituencies. We need to open up this Samburu, these Baringo areas, these Turkana areas, all the way through Kapedo. You need to open up from Samburu all the way to North Hor, up to those places of Loyangalani. If you open up these roads, can you imagine, Jeff? We were calculating with the governor of Marsabit when we were coming today that that Marsabit County is 30 times Kiambu County. 30 times. Yani you put Kiambu 30 times inside Marsabit so that it can fit in there. Yet we're still discussing about mega resources being sent to such very high potential areas with many possibilities in terms of development. We need as a country to ask ourselves, can we continue as a nation developing a third? In fact, did you know that these called the White Island areas, from all the way, say from Machakos here, all the way to Kisumu, Western and Nyanza and Central here, and parts of Highland Rift Valley, did you know that it's less than a third of the landmass of the country? Yet we are forgetting 2/3 of the nation is arid and semi-arid, poorly developed, no resources. I believe, as the Minister for Interior, that even as we pacify these areas security-wise, we cannot have peace as a nation until we develop these areas so that we can get rid of the supply of the fighters who are fighting
the firearms.
And the firearms.
Real quick, let's switch back to security of citizens. The murder of Kasipul, Member of Parliament, Charles Ongondo Were. There's a concern. Speaker of the House, Moses Wetangula, said there's a big concern here when it comes to VIP security vetting. Are they not vetted?
Well, you know, most of the... first of all, let me say that from now, the evidence that is coming out, from the few information that we now have, is that the Member of Parliament, even if we look at the clips, was already... had a premonition, or perhaps he knew that his life was in danger. And we are told that he reported to some police stations and so forth. That should be subject of investigation by the DCI. We are also now told that his security detail could have been culpable in terms of involvement in terms of his murder. It calls now into question the fact that is it enough to have a bodyguard? Is it enough to have a security detail? Are there other things that one has to do or we need to do as a country? Because this person was killed in a very organized, particular manner, but also in a very cheap way. That, people just, somebody comes from within Nairobi here, picks a gun, walks around looking at you the whole day, and then eventually goes to kill a police officer. It was not a member of parliament. It was not with a level of sophistication that tells you that, government or security should have done even far much more. So it calls into question what else can we do to our security detail? Yeah, I would be interested, for example, from DCI to know, did this bodyguard fire any bullet? Did he attempt to do anything? If he was an accomplice, it means, therefore, that he was leading the killers directly to the Member of Parliament. So there are things you can protect yourself from, but there are things that are beyond you. Because when the people who should protect you more turn against you, it now calls into question many things: loyalty of the people that serve with us, what was the motive, were they induced with finance, did they have a problem with the Member of Parliament, is there somewhere they had disagreed with Member of Parliament, therefore they were part and parcel of this fight. It has left, I've spoken to a number of Member of Parliament, it has left many people beginning to think about their security detail.
Are you worried? Are your colleagues worried?
Well, it depends on the individual. It also depends on the level of threat that you face as an individual. And so there are people who don't even have a bodyguard. They don't even like going with their bodyguards. They don't have a gun. So it depends on the level of threat. You can see from the Member of Parliament, he had a higher level of threat. He was already worried about his security from before. And maybe the real problem was the failure to deal with the threat conclusively, even if it means making sure these people are arrested or calling for a meeting or exposing their names publicly if he knew them, or failure of those who were reported to, if it is true that it was reported to police station, to apprehend these people, could have led to the situation that the Member of Parliament has been killed. I really hope that this was an isolated case, and I hope the investigations will help calm many Kenyans who are asking themselves whether it is this cheap for any person to just walk around and kill another person, notwithstanding your status.
Yeah. But the efficiency and the quickness that the investigation has been expedited is, it's mind-blowing. But then you look at Barakoi, what happened there a couple of weeks ago?
Angata Barakoi.
Yeah.
Well, in the Angata Paraguay situation, it was very, very unfortunate. I can tell you it was extremely unfortunate because to kill 5 civilians, it's very painful. And in a situation where there was no threat to do anything. Yeah. I mean, we are now told that some surveyors were surveying land. They did not have even the capacity to carry the land because there were few people. If there were 10, 15, 20, this was, huge chunks of land. It would have been easier if both sides, and no matter the situation, if it was possible for both sides to be able to have a conversation even when there's a disagreement. Now investigation is ongoing. First of all, I continue sending my condolences to all that lost their loved ones. It was an unfortunate situation. There are cases also of public incitement that have since been reported that some individuals were involved in processes of inciting citizens against the police officers. There is also investigation to find out whether the police officers used excessive force, and if they used excessive force, what was the circumstance. And you know, the IG already pulled out the police officer from the area, and investigations of that nature is not, there is no doubt that the police officer who pulled the trigger are among the ones who have, there is no doubt that the investigation must go further to show which specific police officer and whether they used excessive force.
Have there been arrests?
And well, there have not been arrests yet, but because this has been left to police oversight authority. Now the police cannot do this, and DCI cannot investigate. What can DCI can only investigate? The civilians, whether the deputy county commissioner was accused was also culpable. That one is being investigated by DCI, and also DCI to investigate if there is any civilian, as has been alleged that there was incitement from any civilians. The police will investigate, but I still insisted that it was not necessary to lose lives. There was absolutely no reason for anybody to be killed, and I hope that the investigation will then conclusively demonstrate whether the police officers used excessive force, and if they did, then they will be brought to justice. The police officers also have asked me this question. What about the police officers, including the one who was struck with an arrow in his head? So I believe that DCI will do conclusive investigations. It will not just cover the police officers who committed, who killed civilians, but also it will involve civilians who either struck a police officer with an arrow or stones or whatever kind of issue. And I hope this thing can be sorted conclusively. My hope and my belief is that we stop politicization of the security sector. We stop incitement. I know that many people spoke and said they don't want police presence in Angata Barakoy, including the GSU presence, which the IG complied and moved the police a little bit further. Again, we had an attack the other day of bandits who came to attack civilians again in the same area, and citizens are now saying we want to have security protection because there was a buffer zone that was protecting them from cattle rustlers from Tanzania and from the other side. I want to say this, that we need to foster good relationship between the police and the citizens. There has to be a certain level of trust. And police stations and police camps should be places where innocent citizens can go and find solutions to their problems. I would, in my next visit to Angata Barakoy, I would like to have a conversation with the civilians and with the police officers that we would like to deploy officers, because they cannot, our citizens are paid taxes and they deserve to be protected from bandits and so forth.
But it sounds like, from what you said, it sounds like there's a lot of lawlessness. There's
a lawlessness and there's mistrust. And the problem is that many people want me to be politically correct. You know, some people are telling me, oh, you know, because you are a member of this community, you should only be seen to be defending the citizens of the area. Don't talk about police. Don't say that police could have been in self-defense and all those kind of. And I've told them, unfortunately, I am not playing politics. You know, there are people who are looking for political praises. The job that I have been given, and consciously, when the president appointed me to this ministry, I was very conscious that I have to leave all these pursuit of praises and clapping and being cheered. So I'm ready to be insulted. I saw some leaders there insulting me and calling me names. That's not a problem to me. From the intelligence I receive, and what is going on around the country, my responsibility is to stick to the security and well-being of the country, no matter whether it is politically popular or not. In any case, in the fullness of time, if we can correct all the problems that are affecting our people's security without politicizing it, because what is making it very complicated for security men to do their job is political mobilization. And particularly now when we are in the second half of political term, for most of the leaders, most of them, in the absence of performance of their responsibilities, they hang on popular things of inciting the public.
And there's an election in 2 years.
And there's an election in 2 years. So my call is that I'd like to request all the leaders to demonstrate a certain level of leadership to restrain themselves. And Jeff, no one should threaten me because I am not a novice in this field. I have been a senator elected 3 times. Yeah. And in those situations, so many people have died in Kerio Valley. I was a senator. If I wanted popular view, I would have insulted the former ministers. I would have gone and removed or slapped a police officer the way I've seen some elected leaders. I conducted myself throughout that period in a very mature manner, every day seeking solution on matters of banditry in Kerio Valley. And I didn't do it for my county alone. I went to West Pokot, I was in Elgeyo Marakwet, I went to Baringo, and that is we worked with people like the late Senator Kipchumba, and we worked together. In fact, even when senators came from other counties and they were in different political parties, we put our political differences aside and worked together to find solution. My request is that in the situations like Ngata Barakoe, in the situation like the one which was in Baringo, I have the intelligence reports of all these situations where people go, they want to arm their own community, give them guns, give them bullets, make them embrace banditry. It doesn't matter where this situation is, and I'm not going to play popular politics. Yeah. I want to be very candid that injustice anywhere, injustice everywhere. We want to treat everybody equally, but we want to protect our country without inciting the public to commit offenses.
Once you have that intelligence report, which you get all the time, what are you doing about it?
Well, Jeff, you see, you have the intelligence report, but you can't arrest someone based on intelligence report because either they have yet to commit the offense or you must, the police must now do their job of investigating and so forth. Once we get that information, we always make sure that we speak to the administrative officials who are there, if it's a chief, it's a county commissioner, and so forth, from a civilian perspective, because the command responsibility is with the IG. But from a civilian perspective, I'll call a county commissioner and tell, the report indicates that there's incitement in a certain area. Could you go there and call a baraza and calm people? Can you tell them about this and so forth? Sometimes some incitement just happen instantly. You cannot anticipate that the citizens can even fight with police officers, for example. In some situations, you find information and leads, like the cases in some places in the banditry-prone areas, where you find that these close people to this member of parliament or to this MCA are the ones that are buying guns, they're the ones who are buying bullets, they're the ones who are telling people to go and stop in a particular place to kill people. In those instances, because you don't have complete evidence about their leaders, you go for the actors. So that's where we arrest people, we take them to court, and you will see some of the politicians will now come running around with trying to bail them out, making some noise against the cabinet secretary and others. And I want to say this, for as long as I'm sitting in this position, I have removed my political cloth. I am now responsible for the safety of the people of Kenya. I'm not going to play with the safety of the people of Kenya, and we are going to deal with it impartially. You
know what? You started at transport, right? Remember?
Yes.
And then you were moved to sports.
And then here.
And now internal security.
Yes.
And people are asking, are you up to the task?
Yeah. Well, I prefer, there is no point for me to beat my own drums, but I would like people to look at my track record, from my public service, from the day I became a senator. I'd like them to see the work I did in the roads ministry. A lot of reforms we did, whether it was supporting the proper management of issues to do with Kenya Airways, whether how significant we changed the port of Mombasa, how I took a daring position to terminate the contract of Rironi Mau Summit, which we are now about to, which everybody was running away from, which we are now about to get a contractor to do all the road, to my very daring decision to make sure that we increase the fuel levy by 7 shillings, which has now been securitized to sort out all the roads problems across the country. So I prefer, when I went to sports within the 3 months, there are so many reform-related issues that I did, including establishing the sports, the committee to deal with the sports law, what I did to make sure that FKF can do elections, which had never happened for 10 years. And we now have a functioning FKF with clarity of what they need to do. The plans that I announced and we advertised for the 50 academies, the plans we put in place for the stadia across the country, and you will see them being constructed soon. So I know that because of politics and so forth, people have been trying to color my record. But you know what, Jeff? I am not looking for my personal record in this government. I know my place. My job as Murkomen is to make sure that every responsibility given by the president is done to his first satisfaction, because I am working to make sure that his vision, I don't think credit should come to me. For as long as the credit goes to the president and his government, the rest of us are supporting president's vision. Constitutionally, I am not carrying my own vision. It is for us to carry the collective vision of this government. That is why when I went to Interior, the first thing I thought was that it was important to move the security conversation from the boardrooms, from the office of IG, from the eye towers of security to the grassroots. And that's why we established Jukwaa la Usalama. And this Jukwaa la Usalama has now helped us. Instead of people seeking for appointment to come and see me in Harambee House, they find me in the villages with the chiefs, assistant chiefs, village elders, OCSs, police officers, airing out the issues that are affecting them, that are affecting Mwananchi, and us finding solution on the grassroots. We've just come from Marsabit with the IG. In less than 6 months I've been in office, I have now visited 14 counties, 13 counties. Tomorrow I will be in Isiolo, it will be the 14th county. And I have listened to the issues and resolved some of them. It has also informed the policy changes we are making, whether it's the KPR, we have already drafted the policy changes, we are almost implementing, whether it is the issues that are related with the chiefs and assistant chiefs and the administration and the issues of sorting out the NGAO, the National Government Administrative Structure, from top to the grassroots, the question about our police officers, how they function, their relationships on the ground. Issues, for example, I went to Tana River, only to find some police officers have been in an operational area for 15 years. It's extremely dehumanizing for someone to be in an operational area for 15 years. No wonder we have sometimes challenges of mental health and so forth. And we have agreed with the IG from a policy direction that it should be only in 3 years you must be able to change the police officers who are serving in different places. So I would like, I wish I can diminish. Most people want to see me visible, achieving personal glory, berating public officers in public so that I look like I am the person in charge. My dream, and you know, many people do not know me, but they will know in the fullness of time. My dream is that I wish I would decrease even further. I wish I would be invisible for as long as the work we are doing is visible. And it should not be attributed to Murkomen alone. Every ministry I've gone to, I prefer that the credit goes to the team. And eventually, the ultimate credit goes to the person who has given us an opportunity to serve in his administration. Well,
you spoke about the president a moment ago. I want to take a break, come back. VIP security. Someone threw a shoe at the president. I mean, this was unprecedented. I want to talk about that after the break, right? What do you guys think? There's plenty more as well. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JKLIVE. JKLIVE takes a break. We'll be back in a moment.